What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jerome. I'm coming to you with the review for Love and Hip Hop in New York, Season 9, Episode 1, titled Arrested Development. So, we are back where it all started. Although I don't really care too much for New York. I think I made that evidently clear that I'm not a big, huge fan of New York. But looking at the trailer, the super trailer for this show, it looks like it's going to be an interesting season because we got a lot of people dealing with dynamics of prison time. So I'm gonna give New York a shot because, like I said, every year when it comes to New York, it's like blah. So I'm gonna give New York a shot this year, and it looks like Mona is trying something different. She's trying to go back to what Love and Hip Hop was originally started on, was couples dealing with their lives inside of the hip hop community. So I guess it's what we're doing with Love and Hip Hop in New York, because I know with Love and Hip Hop Miami, it's gonna be the same cast that was there last season, with the exception of Mint Chocolate, aka Gabby. So, like I said, the season 9 of Love and Hip Hop New York is couple related. So in the intro, we have Remy and Papoose, Joe and Santana, Kimbella and Juelz. We have Yandy by herself since Mendice's in prison. We had Juju, we had Safari, and we had Rub and Penny. So those are the main characters of this season. Although in the cast picture, we had Maino and Maggie in the cast picture. So I'm kind of confused as to why Maggie and Maino are not in the credits. And we also did get introduced to Maino in this episode. That's really so I'm wondering if Maggie and Maino will appear maybe next week in the credits, or if they're not going to appear in the credits at all. But like I said, they are part of the main cast as well. So without further ado, we are going to start the review. All right, so I'm going to start the show where it started with. I'm going to talk about Joe and Cyn, since they are the two who opened the show. So Joe and Cyn, we all know that they are together, and they had their little boy Lexington, who at this point when the show was filming was 5 months old. And Cyn is like, who would have thought she would be a mother? Which I think I always expected Cyn to have a child. Never expected her to have a child with Joe, old ass. But that's neither here nor there. So Joe was telling us how he, since having all his failed his failed proposal to Tahiri, and his drug use and everything, he's working and he's more mature. I'm like, you really believe you're more mature? But okay. Are we forgetting the BET Awards when you and Migos got into it, when Migos was about to beat your ass? But if Joe want to say he's mature, we're going to let old man Joe in the shoe say that he's mature. He's talking about the differences between he and Cyn, how, Cyn is young, vibrant, and he's the old asshat, as I'm going to call him. Because Joe is a fucking asshat, like through and through. Like, I don't know what Cyn sees in Joe, but obviously there's something good that she sees in Joe, because like I said, Joe's button is a fucking asshat. Basically, I guess what their storyline is going to be this season is the fact that since they've had the baby, Cyn and Joe are not really having sex with each other. I'm thinking to myself, is he impotent? Can he not get his little, thing on hard to have sex with Cyn? Because, after you're going to have a baby, like, that's prime time to, you guys want to, I know that the baby cries and you have to feed the baby, you have to do this and this and that with the baby. So whenever you guys have the opportunity, why are you not knocking her down? I don't get it. Cyn is a beautiful girl, big titties, big ass, like shit. I'd be knocking it down all the time, because she's, at this point, Cyn is throwing it at Joe, and he is just like, it's like a frisbee. He's just going whoop, and he's missing it. Like, I don't get it. Like, but like I said, I guess it's gonna be the thing for Joe and Cyn this season is sex, 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 sex. All right, so then we had this scene where Joe was doing a podcast, and Cyn was in the audience. Surprise, surprise. And she asked Joe the question, is she the best relationship that he's had? And he says, without a doubt, she is. And, I've saw them on Instagram and everything, and they are a cute couple. They are a cute family. So it's actually good to see Joe happy. Like, I actually kind of like this. And even Tahiri, when when Cyn revealed that she was pregnant to everybody, even Tahiri said that it's good to see Joe in a good place, and she's happy for Joe, and she's happy for him and Cyn. So it looks like Joe is in a good place, and I'm, like I said, happy for Joe and Cyn. So once the podcast is over, Joe and Cyn get in the car, and Cyn got her titties out on display. Talking about, she sprayed herself with some perfume, and she's smelling good for Joe. And she's telling Joe how she got plans. So basically, her mother has the baby. So what Cyn says, since they're in the city, why not go to a hotel room? Have a night to themselves, do whatever they want to do. Mainly, she wants some dick. And Joe is kind of turning her down, and I'm like, why are you turning her down? Like, I mean, he's talking about he want to go home. She's like, Joe, if we go home, you're gonna go to sleep, and I'm not gonna get what I want, and what I want is your dick. And she gets upset, and she was like, if I would get this car and ask anybody if they want to fuck, they'll be like, yeah. Which, true enough, they would say that they would want to fuck. Because I mean, who would turn that down? Like I said, I feel like it's probably something wrong with Joe as well, that he doesn't want to have sex with Cyn, because he's talking about it's about timing. And I'm like, what kind of timing is it? Like, your son is 5 months old, so you are way past the point of her healing. So I don't really know what he's talking about when it comes to timing. And like I said, she gets mad, and I actually watching that, I understood before she even said what she said, why she's trying to have sex with him. And it's not about her being horny or anything. It's about her wanting Joe to make her feel good about herself. She just had your baby 5 months ago. Her body has changed and morphed into a different, into a body that she's not used to, and she just wants to feel loved, appreciated, and feel sexy, basically. Like, when she said that, before she even said that, I'm like, that's what's wrong with her. She just wants to feel loved, appreciated, and sexy by him. And then I also kind of thought in my head, I wonder if maybe Cyn is going through postpartum depression, because I mean, I got the gist that maybe that's another thing that she's dealing with, is postpartum. And I saw the trailer at the end of the episode, and I think that's something that Remy is going to bring up to Joe. And I'm like, how in the hell is it that everybody else can see it, but this big dumb buffoon? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, I read that right off the bat, that she just wants to feel sexy, and that she might be a little bit postpartum. So while I'm on a subject of Cyn, we had this weird scene where it was her, Alexis Ground, and Kimbella together. I'm like, Mona, how did you get these three women into a scene with each other? Because to my knowledge, Alexis Guy doesn't know either one of them, to my knowledge. And to my knowledge, Kimbella nor Cyn were on the show at the same time. So how did you maneuver this shit together? If that's the script that you want to write, girl, write that script. But like I said, they're having a mommy day, and Kimbella is talking about her drama that's going on with Juelz and how he might be going to jail. And then Cyn is talking about Alexis Sky and her music career, how she signed with I think it was called Treyway Entertainment or something like that. And Treyway, which I'm gonna get to that a little later, but I'm just getting ahead of myself a little bit, but I'm gonna get to it and it'll make sense. So Treyway, he works with Fetty Wap. So Cyn asks, how's that working? And she tells him that Fetty came down to this Navarro's office to congratulate her, and that basically what it is Alexa just wants him to be a part of her little girl's life, because at this point in the show, he's not claiming her like he is his other kids, like the one he has with Masika, the other baby mamas. But Alexis, I mean, you look stupid as fuck. Like, I think we all said this last season when you were on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, arguing with Masika about One-Eyed Jack, and then you turn around and get pregnant by One-Eyed Jack. But the whole thing was, could it have been One-Eyed Jack's baby, or was it Solo Lucci's baby? But then Alexis said it was it definitely was not Solo Lucci's baby, that it was Fetty, One-Eyed Jack, Fetty Wap's baby. So that could be one reason why he's denying your baby. I hate to say that, but that could be one reason. And then the fact that you got pregnant by a nigga who has multiple baby mamas and he ain't doing shit for any of their kids. Like, what the fuck? Like, look at what Masika goes through. Look at what the other baby mamas go through. And then you put yourself right there in that club with the other ones. He ain't doing shit for his kids. Well, I'm not going to say he's not doing shit for his kids. He's not in their lives, like financially and everything. Like, I don't know why Alexis guy felt the need to lay down with him without a condom and let him fuck her, knowing that nigga is fertile as fuck. Like, oh my God, like, why would you do that? So, you know, and then she's talking about it's not like your relationship is with Joe. So then Cyn lets them know that Joe is neglecting her, but he is working, so he gets a pass. But Kimbella tells her, you know, if you want something, go for it. Like, you know, when he in the shower, go in there with him, and what's he gonna do? Say no? He could say no, that he does not want to do anything, or he can pretend. You know, there's a lot of things he could do. So what Kimbella said made absolutely zero sense to me, because the nigga could really say no, that I just don't want to fuck you in the shower. We could fall. We could do this. We could do that. Oh, I'm just want to take a shower so I can go to bed. Da 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 da. See, he could say no. All right, so next I'm gonna move over to Alexis Ground. So, like I said earlier, Alexis is back, and she's in New York. Actually, she's in New Jersey, and she's at Navarro's office, who we remember from last season, who worked with Anais and his girlfriend Ashley. And you know, Alexis is talking about she's working on music. I'm like, that whack ass shit, like that diss track that you and Zell Swag made last season about Masika was horrible as fuck. Like, what the fuck? Like, why? Who would give her a chance to work on music? Like, she's not talented in music whatsoever. Like, y'all just give anybody a contract at this point in life. Like, what the fuck? Oh, and BTW, she got her teeth done. I was looking at that. I'm like, does she have veneers in her mouth? And also, One Eye Jack got veneers in his mouth, because One Eye Jack showed up to the office, you know, to congratulate her on this you know, record deal that she's done. And you know, the Treyway, I think that is his name, he was asking her how's a working relationship going to work with her and One Eye Jack, since they both are now signed to the same label and have the same lawyer. How this happened? The tricks of Mona. So you know, she's saying that when it comes to Fetty Wap, it is what it is. But when she sees him, you know, they have some unfinished business to deal with. And Treyway is like, you know, when it comes down to the working relationship, he wants it to be just that, a working relationship. Keep the personal out of the professional, and you know, we'll see how this gonna go. So then Navarro has the right idea to bring Fetty Wap, One Eye Jack in to congratulate her. I'm like, why would you do this? Like, they have bad blood between them right about now. He's not claiming her baby, and y'all felt the need to bring this one-eyed motherfucker into the office to say hello to her. Yep. Nope. Not gonna work. So, you know, he asked Alexis Guy if she has anything to say. And, you know, she's basically what it is. She wants a nigga to take a DNA test to prove that, you know, he is her daughter's father. And he says, you know, okay, technically he'll leave it up to her. She said, up to me. And I was actually with Alexis like, you gonna leave it up to her, but she is the one who's been saying take a DNA test, and you are the one who doesn't want to take it. Like, do you not want to take the DNA test because you know that that's your baby? And here's my thing when it comes to Fetty Wap. So when Alexis Guy went to the hospital, and I actually remember all this stuff when it happened on the blogs. When she was in the hospital, he was right there beside her. And then when she had the baby, he was there with her. So if you don't think this is your baby, why were you in the hospital with her the entire time that she was going through this whole ordeal with her baby? Like, that makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever, my nigga. All right, so next I'm gonna move over to Rubbing Pennies, Safari, and Joe Budden. And I'm questioning, is this like supposed to be the new Creep Squad? I'm so over the Creep Squad, to be quite honest with you. So like I said, Safari, he's meeting up with those two. And he's basically telling them how, you know, when he saw Joe's son, He's like, that's what he wants. He wants a family. I'm like, oh, okay. You say you want a family. Okay, if you say so. So, Safari's talking about how he's glad to be back in the NYC, away from the whole West Coast drama that he got himself involved in. I'm like, that storyline was complete bullshit with you, Little Lyrica, and Clutch and Pearls. It was bullshit. So, then, like I said, Joe and Rubbing Pennies are there. And Joe was asking him about the situation between him, Clutch and Pearls, and Little Lyrica. Did he have sex with her? Did he do anything inappropriate with her? And he says no. It was just a situation that blew out of control, which I do see that. I think it is we've all said it, and I'm tired of talking about it because Hollywood is now over. So I'm ready to move past that. But I do think it was a situation that blew out of control. I think initially it was supposed to be a running gag that, Safari did something inappropriate with Little Lyrica. But then when it got to Ray J and Brooke and everybody, they all blew it out of proportion. And mainly Ray J insinuated that Safari and Little Lyrica had slept with each other when that was not to be the case. Because you could clearly see it throughout the whole season that everybody seemed like they were in on it, minus Clutch and Pearls. He was the only motherfucker that was not in on that secret. I think he was blindsided like the most out of everybody. Because like I said, I think it was just a situation that, Mona told him, hey, I'm gonna write this in the script that, Little Lyrica, you say that Safari sent you a dick pic. Big Lyrica, you say, but didn't you tell me that he sent you a dick pic? And then she backpedals and she, goes backwards and all that stuff. And, Safari, you tell K Michelle this, and then you tell Ray J that, and then Ray J read the script wrong and said, oh shit, Safari smashed the homie's wife. So I think that's what happened, being honest with you. That's my interpretation of what really happened with the whole shit. Like I said, Hollywood is over. I'm ready to stop talking about this shit. All right, so Safari, he told Joe and Rubbing Pennies that he had a performance at a college, I think it's called Dykeman or something like that. So we see Safari, he's on the streets of New York looking ever so much like a cornball. I'm like, Mona, this scene is just so fake and phony. Like, he's just walking around the streets, nope. Actually, that's not fake because he does do that. He walks around with all his jewelry and shit on him. And I'm like, what kind of person sits there and makes himself a walking mark to be robbed at any time of the day or night? Like, retarded as fuck. So then we see this scene where he is waking up out of his bed and he's looking at his phone and he's, listening to this audio where he went to the school to perform, but the crowd, started throwing shit at him. And then he went off on the crowd and it just kind of blew up from that point. So then we later see Safari and Old Man Joe in the shoe. They are talking and, Joe was just talking to him about, the performance that he had and why did you sit there and feel the need to tell them that you fuck the girls that they dream of fucking? And I'm like, oh my God, like really, Safari? So then, Joe was telling Safari about how his persona is different in his music. Because actually, Maino mentioned this, and I'll get to that a little later. How, in his music, he raps about, what he'll do to people, plot, 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 shooting and stuff. But then in an interview, once you get robbed, you crying. So it's a contradiction, basically. So then, Joe's talking about his robbery and the jewelry getting stolen, and then this fool said not even 2 weeks later he went and bought some old jewelry. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, you didn't learn your lesson the first time by getting robbed. Like, really? Like, I don't get why people walk around with so much jewelry on them that people know costs a good grip of money. Like, you are asking for somebody to pistol whip your ass and rob you and take your shit from you. Like, you asking for that, basically. Like, I don't get that shit. Like, it's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of in my life. Like, I don't get why a lot of these celebrities do that. Like, it makes no sense. Like, I'm not I'm not that flashy of a person. I will wear jewelry, but I'm not going to wear an excess of jewelry that costs a whole lot of money. What you do is you wear your cheap shit in public, and when you around your friends and your family, you wear your real shit. But in public, wear your cheap ass shit. Like, that's all it is to it. Huh. So then, Joe is telling him about his music again, and how next time, do not perform at a place like that. Like, you know what your crowd is. Perform for your crowd, not for people that is not a part of your crowd, and for free at that. All right, so next I'm gonna move over. We are introduced to Maino, and basically, Maino is telling us his story, how he's been to jail, this and this and that. He's telling us how this is the first time that he's performed at this particular place that he's performed at, because he was there 2 years prior with his girlfriend Maggie, and I think he was there with T.I. And in the middle of the performance, there were gunshots that broke out, and and his girl Maggie got shot in the leg, and she has some complications from that. So then we go outside, and you have Joe out there. He knows Maino, and then we see Jaquay. He's back, talking about he's single. Now, if anybody has been looking at all the shit that's happened with Jaquay and Cyn from over the past few months, you do know that Cyn has said that the reason why she and Jaquay broke up is because Jaquay is gay. But Jaquay denies that, and that is alleged that he's gay. We don't know that. He ain't said it. That's coming from Cyen's mouth. So I'm not saying that that's factual. I'm saying it's hearsay, and it is again alleged. Like, don't know that to be true. So then, while Jaquay is talking to Maino and Joe, he's talking about the performance that Safari had at Dykeman, whatever the hell the name of the school is. And he's just telling him how, what Safari said to the crowd. And, Maino's like, he likes Safari, but like I said earlier, Safari is a contradiction, because in his music, he comes off as a hardcore wannabe gangster, but then when he gets robbed on the streets, he's crying in an interview. So it's a big contradiction, and I absolutely understood where Maino was coming from. That it is a contradiction. Like, how are you gonna be one way in your music but another way in your personal life? It's kind of like that boy Tekashi 6ix9ine. Like, he pretends like he's this thug, and he's a blood or whatever gangs he's supposed to be affiliated with, but then he's a stunt. Like when he was talking about he was on the street corner, but he wasn't really there. But then you go back to the same street corner with bodyguards. So Safari, I'm not comparing him to Tekashi 6ix9ine in any way, but it's just like a lot of people nowadays, they come out with a hype and a gimmick that's absolutely not who they are. And it's more appealing to be who be your true authentic self than to put on a fake facade just to sell records and be whatever it is that you're trying to do. It's more better. It's better to be who you are than to put on a facade, because people will eventually see through that facade. I don't get why people don't see that. All right, so lastly, we're going to move over to Juelz and Kimbella. So before I even start talking about the episode, I'm going to talk about what happened this past weekend with Juelz and Kimbella. So after 9 years, 2 babies, multiple infidelities, and no teeth in your mouth, Juelz proposed to Kimbella. And when he proposed to her, I'm like, oh, that's sweet, I guess, if you say so. I still feel like it's a stunt that Mona is pulling. Like, you are not fooling me, bitch. So, we see Juelz. He gets down on his knees and he proposes to Kimbella. She says yes. Then we see Juelz. He takes the ring and he puts the ring on her right finger. I'm like, and I was sitting there looking. I'm like, bruh, you don't realize you just put the ring on the wrong finger, right? And then she just sitting there all happy. And I'm like, Kimbella, like, are you just as dumb as Juelz is? Like, you've been sitting here talking to this man about getting married and engaged, but you sat here and let this fool put the ring on the wrong finger. Like, if a man don't know what finger it goes on, at least a woman knows that it goes on the left hand, not the right hand. Like, I mean, she sat there with that ring on her right finger, and I'm like, girl, you just as dumb as your man is. But, if they like it, I love it. So the next thing is, we're going to start talking about them. My thing is with Juelz, I cannot get past that picture that we saw on Instagram a few weeks ago of him with no teeth right here. Like, oh my God. Like, that just threw me for a motherfucking loop. Like, whoo. So we are talking about what's going on with Juelz. So he tried to sneak past airport security with a gun in his bag. But Juelz says that he did not know that there was a bag, and he didn't know there was a gun in his bag. He didn't find out till, when did he say he found out when everybody else found out? Yeah, he did say he found out when everybody else, when the news picked it up. And that, when they were telling him that they were calling the police, he was like, you know what? I gotta catch the ghost on y'all niggas. Deuces. Yeah. So, he's on house arrest, but he's not on house arrest to Kimbella because he and Kimbella are not married. He's on house arrest at his mother's, and Kimbella is at their home with the kids. So then we see this thing where they are doing counseling together. And, Juelz is just talking about his drug use and how, again, his teeth, and he got addicted to it. And how, Kimbella, she's talking about how she feels it's always something with Juelz. If it's not the cheating, it's the drug use. If it's not the drug use, it's the disrespect. If it's not the disrespect, it's always something when it comes to Juelz. So then Juelz says to Kimbella, you know what? I don't want you to sit here and place the blame on yourself. It's something that he did, and he apologizes to her for that, which I'm like, okay, that's big of him. Like, I guess, again, been together for 9 years. You have 2 kids. You've cheated on her with multiple women. You guys have had your domestic abuse issues, but okay, if you like I said, if Kimbella likes it, I absolutely love it. And then the things that Kimbella has done to keep Juelz, like her fake. Now, season 2 Kimbella, when she came onto the scene, she was a pretty girl, and she's still pretty, but it's just the fact that Kimbella has done so much to her body. She's got these big ass titties, this big fake ass. It's just like Kimbella has done a lot to herself over the years, and it's like just to please Juelz. Like, I mean, if the nigga's gonna cheat, the nigga's gonna cheat. I'm sorry to say it to you, but it's just facts. All right, so then we had the last scene of the episode with Juelz and Kimbella. So, the judge granted him a day out with the family. So while they're out with the kids, Juelz gets a phone call from his lawyer, and he goes and takes a phone call, and then he comes back to Kimbella and have a solo conversation with her. And basically he's telling Kimbella that, the lawyer told him he has 1 week to make a decision about what he wants to do with the case. If he wants to take a plea deal or if he wants to fight the case. Now, if he takes the plea deal, he can go. It can be anywhere from 18 to 24 months. But if he fights the case, that can give him up to 5 years in prison. Damn, her storyline is kind of similar to Yandy's storyline. I just really sat there and thought about that, like, because Yandy and Mendices are not really married. They didn't get married, and Mendices is in prison. This is very similar to Yandy's storyline. Okay, Mona, you recycling? Well, not technically recycling storylines. Technically you are, technically you aren't. But damn, this is exactly similar to Yandy's storyline. So, Kimbella asks Juelz, what does he plan on doing? He says, well, he doesn't really want to take the plea because he didn't do it, but he doesn't want to risk it and, fight the case and be away from his family for a long time. So he is stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. But that was Love and Hip Hop New York. It was an okay episode. Like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.